everyone, DPX here. Welcome back to another movie review. Today I'm reviewing Fantastic Four First Steps. I keep forgetting that it's called Fantastic Four First Steps. I just keep calling it Fantastic Four. But yeah, before we get into it, you know what to do. Be sure to subscribe, hit the bell, leave a comment, or I will eat your entire family. So Fantastic Four does not at all have a very good track record when it comes to, like, movie adaptations, you know? Also, sorry if you can hear crickets in the back. I'm gonna have music in the back, so I don't know if you'll be able to hear it, but I'm filming this at night. But either way, yeah, Fantastic Four does not really have, like, a good track record at all when it comes to movie adaptations. You had that, like, the 90s one that, like, never really came out, but it is available. You could watch it if you wanted to. You had the two from, like, the 2000s with, like, fucking, like, Chris Evans and Jessica Alba, and just they just weren't that good. You had Fan Four Stick, which, believe it or not, I have never actually seen, and it looks like I still won't. And now you have this one, and I think this one is really damn good. This feels like, it's weird because it feels like the MCU is, like, really coming back. It's really finding its footing again, and it's cohesive, but it also feels very separate from the MCU. Like, it is a part of the MCU, but, like, this was confirmed beforehand. It takes place in, like, a separate universe. So because it's taking place in a separate universe, it allows the movie to kind of stand on its own, you know? It allows the movie to do its own sort of things while not being beholden by the rules of the MCU, you know? Because the aesthetic can be different, you know? The vibe can be different. They have, like a retro-futuristic, like, 60s, 70s sort of, like, aesthetic, you know? Like, the way everyone dresses, the way, like, everyone, the way, like, certain rooms and all that, certain, like, technology is, you know, but it's also futuristic, you know? So that's what I really like. That's probably the biggest thing I actually really like about it, because it's cohesive, and it's like a cohesive part of the MCU where it feels like, you know, oh, there's, like, it's cohesive. That's the word I'm trying to get at here. It's cohesive in the MCU, but it's also different. It's separate. It's not tied to what the MCU does, you know? Big talking point about this movie is the cast and who they got to play the Fantastic Four. You know, I feel like the biggest one is Pedro Pascal as Reed Richards, or Mr. Fantastic. And the thing with him is I was a little iffy because, like, I didn't think Pedro Pascal was a terrible pick for Reed Richards, but definitely not who I would have picked. And also definitely felt like stunt casting. Like, it just felt like Pedro Pascal, he's popular, he's in The Last of Us and The Mandalorian and all these other things, and so we'll have him be Reed Richards, right? And again, I wasn't really against that idea, but it did feel a bit like stunt casting. After watching the movie, though, I think he's great as Reed Richards, you know? I think they do an interesting thing with him where he's the smartest man in the world, right? But he's not, like, he doesn't have, like, a big ego, right? He's not, like, an egotistical asshole. Like, he knows that with being the smartest man in the world, there's things maybe he doesn't know, right? And he's not perfect, which I think is like a really cool thing to see about, like, the smartest man in the world. You also had Vanessa Kirby as Sue Storm, who she was probably among the standouts. I don't know if I can call it a standout, because they're all kind of the standouts, you know? Like, they do, like, an interesting thing with her as she's, like, a mom, you know? Obviously, we have Franklin Richards, who is born in this movie. You know, none of the other Fantastic Four movies, at least that as far as I know, really touched on Franklin Richards, like, but this movie does. But they do an interesting thing where, like, she's, like, a mom, like, caring for, like, a newborn baby, but she also has this big thing that is, like, trying to save the world, you know? And then you also have Joseph Quinn, who plays Johnny Storm, you know, the Human Torch, and there was talk about how they, like, sort of, like, neutered his character he's not a womanizer in this movie, like how he's supposed to be. But at the same time, I think he might still be, but he doesn't really have the opportunity to do that. Like, it's just not really about that. They definitely, like, play into the fact that he likes women and he's single, They definitely play into that. Yeah, and one thing I should also mention is, like, this is a Fantastic Four movie where the Fantastic Four have been the Fantastic Four for 4 years. See what you did there by making it 4 years, specifically 4 years. So there's certain things we don't really get to see because this isn't an origin story. We're introduced to the Fantastic Four after they've been the Fantastic Four for a while now. And that also brings me to Ebon Moss-Bachrach, who plays Ben Grimm, the Thing. And he's I really like the way they used him. I like he's like this rock monster, but like very friendly. The kids love him, and they're like, "Yeah, let's pick up that car." I will say they don't really touch on the fact that he's like forever changed. Like, he looks different now, and he's a rock monster, right? I don't think the Fantastic Four movies from the 2000s are all that good. But they did touch on the fact that Ben Grimm is a rock monster a bit more than this movie does. So I guess that is sort of like something against this movie. But at the same time, it is refreshing to not have an origin story, for this to just be the Fantastic Four. They've been the Fantastic Four. But I guess a sacrifice with that would be like you don't touch on this element of this character, But I really like the dynamic of all of them, like. These 4 characters, as they should, they're like, the whole thing about the Fantastic Four is the dynamic between the 4, right? That's the whole point. And they nailed that very well. All 4 of them have great chemistry with each other, and it's great. They even have like the little robot there, who's also awesome. I love him too. They also introduce Silver Surfer and Galactus. Talking about Silver Surfer first, this was a very interesting take on Silver Surfer. I know it's, there are people who want to say certain things about the fact that Silver Surfer is a female now. There is a female Silver Surfer in the comics, so this wasn't like they just gender swapped the character just to gender swap them. Like, this is like an actual adaptation of a specific version of this character. I feel like they could have done a bit more with her. The movie's not about her. This isn't Silver Surfer the movie, or it's not like, it's not like The Rise of Silver Surfer where like the whole point is that Silver Surfer is in the movie, basically. They do something very interesting with her, and I feel like they could have explored more of that. But one thing I am very impressed with is Galactus. They didn't really do Galactus very well in the other movies. They made him a cloud. Like, that's crazy. And I get, like, Galactus is a very, like, hard character to do in a movie. Like, how do you do this, like, fucking giant? This galactic giant who eats planets, right? And I do really like the way they did it. I think Ralph Ineson is the name of the, actor who plays Galactus, and I will say this isn't like, I'm not holding this isn't counting towards like the final score of the movie or whatever, but like I know Ralph Ineson because he voiced Sid in Final Fantasy 16. So when I heard Galactus talking, I immediately thought of Sid, and it did kind of fuck with my brain for a little bit because because I'm watching a movie, but it's reminding me of this completely unrelated video game, right? But it's not something that bothered me. I just thought it was funny. But he's great, and Galactus, I think for the most part, looks really cool. I feel like when you get a look at the face, it could be a little off, but like that's like a nitpick. I guess that can lead me into like an issue I have. The CG isn't even bad, but there are times where it is a little shoddy. Like specifically, I did mention Franklin earlier this video. I was gonna say earlier this year for some reason, but I did mention Franklin earlier in the video, and for the most part, he looks cool. He looks perfectly fine, but it's a CGI baby, by the way. So at times, when they linger on him, it looks a little odd, you know? But overall, I really like Fantastic Four First Steps. It is, I mean, it's a low bar. It's the best Fantastic Four movie. A low bar, but it does set the bar. So the next Fantastic Four movie is going to have to be better than this, and this is a really good movie. And funny that it's Fantastic Four that marks the return of, like, the best Marvel, you know? Not that this is, like, Marvel at their peak, but this, like, if you want to make a case for this being, like, a top 10 best MCU movie, I mean, it's been a while since I've, like, ranked them all, you know, so I'm not even entirely sure if I would put it in the top 10, but I wouldn't argue with you if you wanted to put it in the top 10, because maybe it's recency bias, but, like, it's just, it feels cohesive, it feels refreshing, and if there were reshoots in this movie, you cannot tell. In other movies, you can definitely tell where there's reshoots, you can tell where it's been, like, stitched together in the editing room. You can't tell with this movie. This is a damn good MCU movie, and just a damn good movie. Is 2025 the return of comic book movies? Because we got, like, you know, Thunderbolts before this, we got Superman recently, and now we got Fantastic Four. And I think that's it for the year. Like, I don't think they're releasing anything else this year, but, like, the comic book movie fans are eating good. Anyways, I'm going to give Fantastic Four First Steps a 9 out of 10. Anyways, that's my thoughts on Fantastic Four First Steps. What do you guys think of the movie? Have you guys seen it, not seen it? Do you guys like it, not like it? You guys, if you haven't seen it, do you want to see it, not want to see it? Anything about the movie, let me know down below. Anyways, be sure to comment, subscribe, or I will eat your entire family.